Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to episode number 5 of the Detroit Lions franchise here on Madden NFL 21. Today we're going to be doing a in-season recap. I'm going to be doing a couple of these throughout the season, just kind of give you an update as to how the team's been going, what's been going on around the league, how we stack up, if anybody's on the move, and so on and so forth. So if you're excited for this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content as we continue the road to 100 subscribers. So let's kick this season recap off by taking a look at the standings. We currently sit at 2-1. We top the NFC North. We could easily be 0-3 as we barely beat the Cardinals and the Packers, but nonetheless we are 2-0 and top our division. There are a couple of 3-0 undefeated teams around the league, starting with the New York Giants, the Buffalo Bills, followed by the New Orleans Saints and the Seattle Seahawks. Now on the flip side, there's some also 0-3 teams. There's the Washington football team who have looked 0-3, despite Haskins looking pretty solid. New England's had a hard time moving on past Tom Brady. They're 0-3, and the Ravens are surprisingly 0-3 as well, so that's kind of a shock. Then the Jets are 0-3, and there's a couple of 0-2-1 teams being the Minnesota Vikings in our division, followed by the Los Angeles Rams, who have really fallen from grace since the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. So now let's go by the division, starting off with the AFC North. There's a three-way tie atop the division, led by the Cincinnati Bengals at 2-1, the Cleveland Browns also, and then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers at 2-1, and the Ravens are 0-3. AFC South also has a three-team top. As the season starts to go on, this will definitely space out. But you got the Tennessee Titans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Houston Texans all at 2-1 in that division. And we flip on to the AFC East, where the Bills, they don't have a three-way tie. They have a commanding lead of their division, already 3-0. As that is just a porous division. AFC West, Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers split that division, both sitting at 2-1. Los Angeles off to a hot start in their new stadium. That looks absolutely beautiful. So flip on over to the NFC side. NFC North, we lead 2-1. We got the Bears and the Packers behind us, as we have been the Bears' only win so far this year. Then the NFC South, the New Orleans Saints lead 3-0. Tampa Bay and Tom Brady are 2-1 behind the New Orleans Saints. NFC East is the 3-0 New York Giants, followed by the 2-1 Cowboys, and then you got the 1-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Then just rounded out in the NFC West, Seattle sits 3-0, followed by the defending NFC champs 49ers are 2-1. So that's going to take a look at the standings. So let's go more into the player stats now, see how our players are standing up across the league. And before I jump into the player stats too deep, though, I do want to say I've been playing at 15-minute quarters, and I'm thinking about moving that down to 13-minute quarters because we have a very explosive offense. We have a lot of playmakers on offense, but I think we're just like, it's too long, and I think we're throwing off some of the statistics. So I think I'm going to move it down to 13 minutes. But nonetheless, let's start off with our passing game. Matthew Stafford, he's got 876 yards on the season, 8 touchdowns, 7 picks. He has been very, very good. He's had plenty of weapons to throw at, and he's been taking advantage of them. He does have 7 picks, so I hope that pick number can come down. I hope he can cut down those INTs. But, you know, overall, I've been very impressed with Stafford's game. Then we go to the running game, where Kerryon Johnson has been a huge surprise. 54 carries. He has 343 yards. He's averaging 114 a game with 1 score. He actually leads the NFL in rushing yards, which we'll take a look at in a second, but Kerryon Johnson doing his thing. And DeAndre Swift, he's had 29 carries, 111 yards. Not as impressive as Kerryon Johnson, so I guess we are definitely more of a power running team. But he still has that hidden dev, so I can't wait to see what happens when that unlocks, to see what Swift's dev trait is. Now over to the receiving game. Kenny Golladay tops that one, 19 catches, 326 yards, 4 grabs in the end zone. And he has just been absolutely sensational as that number one. And Danny Amendola, our slot guy, 16 for 180 and 4 scores as well. So Danny Amendola has been getting involved in the mix as well. He is also a free agent after this year, however. T.A.J. Hawkinson, our tight end, 12 catches, 145 yards, has yet to find the end zone, however, as everybody besides Golladay and Amendola has yet to find the end zone. So that's very interesting. Marvin Jones has 13 catches, 124 yards. I would say about 85% of that was in that Packers game where he made a huge impact. And then DeAndre Swift has 14 catches on 84 yards, and Kerryon Johnson has 3 catches out of the backfield as well. So that's a pretty solid split across the receiving board. Take a look at blocking so far. We've had a very, very solid line. The only person who's given up sacks is Vatai, as he's given up 2 sacks in 3 games. Might need to move that slider down a little bit, but nonetheless. Tackles, Jelani Tavai leads our team at tackles with 24, our middle linebacker. He's played very solid, also has an interception and a half sack. So he's been kind of doing it all in the middle of the field. He's been a very pleasant surprise in that regard. Tracy Walker's next with 22 tackles, a tackle for a loss. He's been a very solid, strong safety. He can help out in the run game. He can also cover the tight ends or the running backs out of the backfield. Desmond Trufant, 21 tackles, is yet to have a pick. He has 2 pass deflections, however. So Desmond Trufant's been a pretty solid number 2. I've been impressed with his play. And also with 21 tackles is Duron Harmon. We also saw him pick off Nick Foles in that Chicago Bears game. He's been a pretty solid center fielder for us. He plays back on cover 3s for the most part. Justin Coleman, 20 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss and interception. So he has just been outstanding. 5 deflections too. He has been a real number 1 corner. Very surprising to me. I knew he was good, but I didn't think he was that good. As he's also able to help out in the run game with his 3 tackles for a loss. So Coleman out there doing it all. Jalen Reeves-Maven, our nickel linebacker, he's played pretty well so far as well. He's got an interception, 15 tackles, but I think he is getting picked on a little bit in the middle of the field. And then there's Trey Flowers on the D-line. He's got 12 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss. He has been pretty explosive in the middle of that line. And on the other side, Deshaun Hand, he has 3.5 sacks. He actually leads our team in sacks with 3.5. 10 tackles for a loss. Has yet to tackle anybody behind the line of scrimmage, but he has been a pretty solid pass rusher. Then we got Darryl Roberts with 9 tackles out of the dime, and then also with 9 tackles is Jeff Okuda. So I don't know if he's only got 9 tackles because he's just not being thrown at, because he also doesn't have a deflection, but I'd say Okuda's played really, really solid, the rookie out of Ohio State, and if you take a look, we are really close at unlocking his dev trade. Hopefully we see that after the Saints game, and I'm hoping he has superstar or dev. I mean, if he had superstar X Factor, that'd be even better, but I think Okuda will at least have superstar dev. So Jeff Okuda, have big things for him. Jamie Collins, the veteran, has 6 tackles, 1 sack, so he's been pretty solid on the edge as well. Then there's Christian Jones. He's kind of that 4th linebacker. He gets subbed out on nickel packages, so he only has 5 sacks so far on his season. Same thing with Gerard Davis. He is our base middle linebacker, but in nickel sets, he comes out and Reeves-Maven comes in. We run a lot of nickel, so he hasn't had the field a lot. I still don't want to give up on Gerard Davis yet, but time will tell. Danny Shelton, our big nose tackle in the middle, only has 2 sacks, but he is drawing a lot of the double teams. He does have a sack, however, so still getting through at some points. Then he got a couple players off the bench. Miles Kildress, 2 tackles. Okora had a sack in that Cardinals game, followed by some people who have really yet to find the field. So that's our defense and our whole team, actually. So let's take a look at the league leaders. Deshaun Hand leads us in sacks, and then we have a bunch of guys with 1 interception. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the passing numbers around the league so far, see who leads in passing yardage. And the leader in passing yards in the NFL is Nick Foles, 1,486 yards. He leads by a solid 50 yards too. Nick Foles, signed to push Trubisky for the starting quarterback job, won it in preseason camp, and he will not let go of that position. Leads the league in yardage. Chicago probably very happy to pick him up, despite the fact they only have a 1 win. But Nick Foles has made the most as Super Bowl MVP starting to come back around. Matt Ryan has 993. Phillip Rivers has 992 with 9 touchdowns and only 1 pick, followed by Josh Allen and Dwayne Haskins of the Washington football team, who's had a pretty solid sophomore year so far. NFL touchdown passing leader is Deshaun Watson. He's got 13 touchdowns already so far this season. That's over 4 a game. And then Drew Brees has 4 a game with 12 touchdown passes total. Interception leader is Matthew Stafford. He does lead with his 7 picks. I do throw a lot of picks in Madden, so I expect to see our guys towards the top. But still, hopefully that does come down. Rushing leader, like I mentioned earlier, is Kerryon Johnson. He's got 343 yards. It's a whole 50 above the next guy, which is Ezekiel Elliott. And then a rushing touchdown leader is Nick Chubb from Cleveland. He's got 5. Nick Chubb has become an absolute unit of a running back. He's X Factor, 93 overall. I think he's the 2nd best back in the National Football rating-wise. Yeah, he is. He is tough to bring down, 92 trucking, and I don't want to face him in Cleveland anytime soon. Kareem Hunt, also of Cleveland, has 4 touchdowns, so Cleveland's combined 9 touchdowns on the ground. And then a couple other players with 4. Darrington Evans, the rookie out of Appalachian State. Didn't expect to see him up there. He's got 4 rushing touchdowns so far, so I guess he's getting a lot of the goal line carries. Take a look at his stats. Only 70 overall normal dev, but if he keeps this up, his dev trait should increase. And then we have Jalen Richard of the Las Vegas Raiders with 4 as well. I want to see who leads with broken tackles. Okay, Josh Jacobs of the Raiders has 12 broken tackles, so he's been the hardest guy to bring down. Receiving leader in the league is Julio Jones, 388 total yards receiving with 3 scores, followed by Cordero Patterson of the Bears, so he's been Nick Foles' primary target. And then you have Kenny Golladay with 326 as well in 4 scores. Leading receiving touchdowns leader is a bunch of people with 4. Alvin Kamara has 4 touchdowns on 5 grabs, so every single time he catches the ball, he seems to find the end zone. Then you got Kenny Golladay, Cole Beasley, Danny Amendola, and Kenny Stills all have 4 grabs as well. Let's go to the defensive side. The leader in tackles this season is Donta Hightower with 38 from New England. Sack leader is Sheldon Richardson with 4 out of Cleveland. And then interception leader is looks like a bunch of guys with 2, but Kevin King is at the top. He picked us off in that game, so one of those came from us. But you got a bunch of other players: Travion Mullen, Darius Slay, Jesse Bates, Richard Sherman, a bunch of guys with 2, Logan Ryan, and rounds it out with Bobby Wagner as well. So that's the player stats. Look at the team stats. We are 2nd in the NFL with offensive yards, so high firepower. 17th in defensive yards, so about middle of the pack. Point score, we are 6th, and then points allowed, we are 26th. So we just need to cut down on those points allowed. So one more thing I want to take a look at before I wrap this one out. We're going to take a look at a couple trades that have gone down around the league. There's been 2, I think, so far. Both involve the Eagles. So cornerback Cravon LeBlanc has been traded to the 49ers for a 5th, a 7th, and a future 6th. And then Sidney Jones was traded in the division from the Eagles to the Washington football team. Don't see that very often, for linebacker Sean Deon Hamill and a 7th rounder this coming year. So hope to see what that pays off, as in-division trades are usually pretty rare. But that's going to do it for this episode. Just take a quick look around the league as the season started off. See what teams got out to a hot start. I haven't mentioned scouting yet. I do have a plan for scouting. I just haven't finalized how I'm going to do it yet, but scouting will be coming in the next episodes. I'll have scouting spotlights, so we'll obviously dig deeper into the franchise. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you want more franchise content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.